Yo, what is going on, guys, and welcome back to 365 Analytics. And today it is Tuesday, July 21st, day 7 of the 2026 NFL Position Ranking Series here on the channel. Today we will be presenting my top 10 tight end rankings going into the 2026 NFL season. This will actually be the final day before we officially start getting into the nitty-gritty of the rankings. Tomorrow we'll have wide receiver. Thursday we'll have running back. Friday we'll have quarterback. Next week we'll have the top 100. Rookies are officially starting to report to training camp, so we are officially starting to get into football territory, ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah, I'm excited. We're getting into the nitty-gritty now. Before I start here, if you guys do enjoy today's video, please like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more content exactly like this. And without further ado, let's get into our top 10 tight ends going into the 2026 NFL season. Coming in at the number 10 position on the list is a guy going into his second year, a rookie last season. It is Harold Fannin Jr. of the Cleveland Browns, former draft pick out of Bowling Green, had a very good college career, racked up a lot of stats in college, and came to Cleveland and really outperformed David Njoku last year and really took over that Cleveland Browns tight end spot, which led Cleveland to not end up re-signing David Njoku. And so, yeah, it is Harold Fannin's tight end room now. He's really leaping into one of the better tight ends in the league. Actually, I believe on this list I have 8, 9, and 10 are all rookies. This one happens to be Harold Fannin Jr. Absolute great rookie season, despite how bad the Browns were, and absolute disaster of a season they had overall. But at number 10, Harold Fannin Jr. Coming in at the number 9 position on the list. You guys know I just had to show this play. As many times have I seen it. I absolutely went off on this channel after this happened, but at number 9, it is Colston Loveland, former Bears, I believe 10th overall pick he was, out of Michigan. Started off his rookie season pretty slow, kind of sat behind Cole Kmet, eased into things, really didn't get many targets. I drafted him in fantasy. He was my tight end early in the season. Really kind of started slow, but then as the season went on, gained his groove and really started aspiring to that tight end one in fantasy football. As I said, similar to Harold Fannin, outstanding rookie season, was a great target for Caleb Williams down the stretch. When the season got on, he really started to mold into himself, and quite frankly, this was a great rookie tight end class this past season, as we'll talk about another one at number 8 here. But yeah, coming in at number 9, it's Colston Loveland. And the third straight rookie on the list, it is at number 8, Colts tight end Tyler Warren out of Penn State. This guy is a kind of a Swiss Army knife, so to speak. He takes snaps in the shotgun sometimes. He kind of has the option to throw sometimes. He kind of has the option to run the wildcat and just take it himself. He's kind of a Swiss Army knife, and I think that's what made a lot of teams, and the Colts necessarily who drafted him, fall in love with him more than anything. He was very athletic coming out of Penn State. He did the same exact things at Penn State. He took the snaps in shotgun, and he can really do a lot, but obviously, as a pass catcher, he's a tight end. That's where he thrives. He can block. He can catch the ball. He's good at run after catch. Absolute beast. Absolute aspiring young tight end. And the Colts, obviously everybody knows how good they started last year, and he was a big part of that right from the jump. Was absolutely outstanding. I believe he had around 700, 800 yards last season, so a very good rookie season for him. I expect him only to get better. At number 8, Tyler Warren. Coming in at the number 7 spot is a guy formerly of Iowa Hawkeyes, formerly of Tight End University. Dealt with some injuries this past season, but he is still in the top 10 here. It is Sam Laporta. As I said, the injuries kind of plagued him last season. His rookie season was absolutely outstanding in 2023. Obviously, everybody remembers Sam Laporta and the Lions' emergence overall. Since then, he's kind of been searching to find that exact production that he had. He hasn't really hit it, but nonetheless, when he's been on the field, he's been absolutely elite. He's been one of the most productive tight ends. This past season, he has dealt with some injuries and really kind of had some roadblocks in his season. And I'd say that about the Detroit Lions as a whole. They had some roadblocks in their season. They kind of underperformed and kind of disappointed overall. But when this guy's on the field, obviously he's a tight end 1 in fantasy football. He's a top 10 tight end in the league, and there's not really much disputing that. At number 7, Sam Laporta. Coming in at the number 6 spot on the list is Kyle Pitts Sr. Kyle Pitts Sr. now, congratulations to Kyle Pitts. I believe he now has a child. I don't know if it's a son or a daughter. I haven't really researched that, but he is now going by Kyle Pitts Sr., so he's going to have Pitts Sr. on the back of his jersey this season. So congratulations to him. I heard he had a child, but he comes in at number 6 on the list. I know everybody kind of likes to hate on Kyle Pitts because of how high a draft pick he was. He went number 4 overall, the Atlanta Falcons. Everybody kind of clowned them for not taking Jamar Chase, but nonetheless, with all due respect, he has been a very, very good tight end in the league. He hasn't really been that guy out of Florida they expected out of Florida. He won the John Mackey Award as a tight end. He was expected to be one of the cream of the crop of the league, and I wouldn't call Kyle Pitts one of the cream of the crop of the league for tight ends, but nonetheless, he's been a very good and productive player for the Falcons. Everybody kind of remembers that Thursday Night Football game against Tampa Bay last year where I think he had 3 touchdowns in the game. He had most of his stats of the entire season in that one game. But, I mean, this guy's still a very good vertical target. He's probably the number 2 pass catcher on the Falcons offense, considering Drake London is probably the primary guy. Obviously, they run through the run game with Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, who's been there over the course of the years, now an Arizona Cardinal. But, yeah, he comes in, Kyle Pitts, at number 6 on the list. Still cracking the top 5. At number 5, we have Taylor Swift's now husband, future first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the best tight ends in NFL history. It is the boogeyman, Travis Kelce. Obviously, he's declined. There's no doubt about it. He's declined over the past few years now. I honestly thought this season was going to be his last. I thought it was it for him. After that last Raiders game at the end of the season, I thought Travis Kelce was going to ride off into the sunset as one of the best tight end receiving threats of all time and one of the best tight ends overall in the history of the NFL. But nope, he's coming back. He's returned to the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes will be coming back from injury again. He'll be coming back from injury. I expect him to be back. I expect him to be back week 1. We'll see what ends up happening with that, but he's still productive. If you asked a lot of people where Travis Kelce finished in fantasy football last season, a lot of people will probably say out of the top 10. They didn't think he did too well. Travis Kelce was ranked a top 5 tight end in fantasy football last season. I'm not saying fantasy football is everything. That just shows how much he still gets the ball, how productive he still is, and how decent he still is as a tight end. And he comes in at number 5 on the list. Coming in at the number 4 spot on the list is another guy similar to Sam Laporta who dealt with some injuries last season. His season was cut short. But in the first quarter to half of that season, when he was on the field, man, was he a force. It is Tucker Kraft, arguably the number 1 target for the Green Bay Packers. I mean, I guess they have decent receivers. They've had Romeo Doubs, who's now a Patriot. They've had Dontavian Wicks, who is now an Eagle. They still have Christian Watson. They still have, Jaden Reed. Sorry, I blanked on his name for a second. They still have Jaden Reed. Matthew Golden was kind of disappointing, I'd say, last year. So Tucker Kraft was really that number 1 option for them. And when he was on the field, him and Jordan Love absolutely cooked. But then the injury came, and the Packers season kind of came toppling down. Not toppling down, because the Packers still got in the playoffs, but the injuries they dealt with. So, yeah, this guy's an absolute beast. Mid-round pick. I believe he was actually drafted after Luke Musgrave, if I'm not mistaken, who's also a Green Bay Packer. But Tucker Kraft ended up being the better player, and he comes in at number 4 on the list. Coming in at the number 3 spot is another guy who dealt with some injuries last season. He played pretty much the entire season, but he missed a few games, dealt with some injuries, dealt with some lingering injuries more than anything. I believe he probably played 12 or 13 games, but a lot of tight ends dealt with some injuries last season, and Brock Bowers is no different as he comes in at number 3. So, out of Georgia, everybody knew how good this guy was. They called him Baby Gronk. He can block. He's probably the best blocking tight end, only behind George Kittle, I'd say. Or we'll talk about George Kittle in a second, but he's probably the second best blocking tight end behind George Kittle in the league. And he can catch the ball like anybody. He's number 1 receiver, number 1 pass catcher on the Raiders by far, despite how much of a disaster they were last season. And this will be Fernando Mendoza's best friend. I love this guy coming out of the draft. I think a lot of people did. And the Raiders got a good pick with him, and I'd say his second year probably wasn't as productive as his rookie season, but the entire Raiders season was a mess. So, yeah, number 3 on the list, Brock Bowers. Coming in at the number 2 position on the list, it is the people's champ, George Kittle. Everybody knows he's been a great tight end in the league for a long time. I don't think many people would argue that he's probably a future Hall of Famer. He's been productive for the 49ers for a long time. He's been on both teams that made the Super Bowl in the Kyle Shanahan era, and he's been productive. When he's been on the field, he's dealt with some injuries over the course of the seasons. Again, last season, George Kittle dealt with some injuries. I think he probably missed 4 or 5 games. I think he was hurt in week 1, then missed 4 or 5 games because he was on my fantasy team. And then at the end of the season, ended up having the season-ending injury. So we'll see if he's back for week 1 or not. But as I said before, this guy is the best blocking tight end in the National Football League. He's good run after catch. He's your all-around package. He is just your all-around package. I don't think this really needs to be much explaining here. Everybody knows how good this guy is. And at number 2 on the list, George Kittle. I believe this is the first Arizona Cardinal we will be talking about in the 2026 NFL Position Ranking Series. But at number 1, it is the best tight end in the league, Trey McBride. Last season broke the record for the single-season tight end receptions. I believe he had 120 or something like that. This guy was all over the field. All over the field for the Arizona Cardinals offense. He was the guy in the disappointing weeks that Marvin Harrison Jr. have. Michael Wilson not really emerging until the very end of the season where he had some good games, but this guy was it, man. No matter who the quarterback was, Jacoby Brissett, Kyler Murray, whoever was on the field, he was producing, and he was a bright spot in that disastrous Arizona Cardinals season. Wow, I forgot the Cardinals started 2-0. I think I had the Cardinals in the playoffs last season in my preseason predictions, but that's besides the point. Trey McBride, he's the all-around package, the best pure pass-catching tight end in the NFL, and I think has the potential to be one of the best pure pass-catching tight ends the NFL's ever seen, quite frankly. He's that good, and yeah, there's nothing else to say about this guy, really. He's all over the field. He is a primary target. He is a bona fide number 1 pass catcher, and he comes in at number 1 on the list, Trey McBride. And here is the full tight end ranking. As you can see, I mapped out the top 10, recapping with Trey McBride, George Kittle, Brock Bowers, Tucker Kraft, Travis Kelce, Kyle Pitts, Sam Laporta, Tyler Warren, Colston Loveland, and Harold Fannin Jr., with some honorable mentions being Mark Andrews, Hunter Henry, Jake Ferguson, Dallas Goedert, and New York Giant Isaiah Likely. But yeah, that is your 2026 NFL tight end ranking for the 365 Analytics channel. As I said in the intro, tomorrow is where we really start the nitty-gritty now. We really start the nitty-gritty. We have rookies reporting to training camp. We'll do wide receiver tomorrow, running back on Thursday, and quarterback on Friday, which the quarterback is the most fun I have because I rank all 32. I end up doing the top 10, I think, in voiceover, but I do all 32, and we have a lot of fun with it. Have a lot of fun debate, yada, 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 controversy. That's where people get the most heated and stuff like that, so that's always the most fun thing to do. Then next week, we will have the NFL Top 100 here, and we will have training camp really fully underway at the end of next week. So, yeah, should be fun. Should be fun, people. We're officially getting to the nitty-gritty, and football is right around the corner. Before I get off, if you guys did enjoy today's video, please like, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications for more content exactly like this. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. Wide receiver rankings. Have a great night.